Every strong brand you admire isn't built by adding things, but more so by cutting things that don't belong. Colors that sell but don't feel like a brand originally, cut. Products your family think are cool but you don't believe in, cut. Logos, slogans, designs that make the brand more marketable but less honest, cut. I'm gonna call it what it is. Taste is the discipline to disappoint people now, so your brand doesn't disappoint the market it's gonna hit later. It's not about the mood boards or the vibe. In the early stages when you're all alone, it's the filter for decisions you make when nobody agrees with you. And Teddy, the founder of Aimé Leon Dore, built his taste long before he even wanted to own a fashion brand. He learned by watching people, what they respond to, what makes them comfortable, and what brings them back while working at his family's diner. Style, hustle, and more importantly, connecting with people there. Outside the diner, every summer, he would go to Greece with his family, soaking up a different vibe built on simplicity, quality, things that stood the test of time rather than the trends. This is what made Teddy's perspective different. Not the culture, but how he used it. In 2010, Teddy started a small eyewear boutique called Tina Catherine with a friend. It wasn't nothing crazy, but it put him inside retail early. He learned how product move, how customers behave, and how relationships form inside real time. This was not only psychologically, but it was also where he started building connections inside New York's fashion scene, including Ronnie Fike, who was quietly building kit from the ground up at the time. Teddy had made this prototype, just a simple crew neck sweatshirt with the word Aimé screen printed across the chest. It means love in French. Story goes, he showed it to Ronnie, and Ronnie saw something in it. He posted a photo on Instagram and told Teddy, if this gets 500 likes, you need to start your own brand. The post ended up getting 600 likes, and the story was history. Understand, Teddy had zero formal training in design and pattern making. He wanted to create clothes that combine everything that inspired him. The timeless quality of Ralph Lauren, the raw feeling of New York street culture, and this sophisticated casual vibe he observed from older Greek men during summers abroad. This was a blend that nobody was doing at the time, and this is actually even changing my perspective, because sometimes people look at one lifestyle to create a brand, but this was a mashup of multiple lifestyles. In a way, it was like even a mindset. In March of 2014, Aimé Leon Dore officially launched. The first collection wasn't trying to reinvent the wheel. Sweatshirts, Oxford shirts, bomber jackets, tailored trousers, but the magic wasn't in any single piece. It was how they all came together to form this coherent wardrobe. These were clothes for someone who could quote Jay-Z lyrics, but also appreciated a perfectly cut blazer. He got something that most fashion brand owners completely miss. I just want you to picture this inside your head. Aimé ended up opening their first store. Nothing inside was random. You'd walk in and see these vintage basketballs lining the walls next to old cassette tapes and boom boxes. Alright, so there's even Persian rugs all over the floor, and these beautiful wooden fixtures displaying sweaters that were folded with ridiculous precision. The whole vibe will transform with the seasons and changing of collections. The best way how I can put this is, it felt more like visiting the apartment of that one friend who has ideal taste without trying too hard. It feels like that friend's place because it just lowers your guard. You're not being sold to, you're being let into a world. By 2017, Aimé Leon Dore didn't just have fans. It had people who waited, not because of hype, but more because they trusted Teddy's taste and decision making. That's why the early collabs mattered. Working with Kith was about borrowing credibility from people who already understood the culture. The real shift came in 2019 when ALD moved to Mulberry Street, and it just wasn't only about the store. The art and cafe gave people reasons to show up even when they weren't buying anything. When your physical space gives people a reason to stay, the brand stops relying on drops to stay relevant. And here's what I mean about that. The cafe became almost as big a draw as the clothes. You'd have fashion lovers rubbing shoulders with neighborhood locals, everyone stopping by for Freddo espressos and Greek pastries. It transformed into this genuine community hub. Some days you'd find Teddy himself just hanging out there, chatting with customers and friends. This personal connection became central to the brand's whole appeal. The approach to retail created spaces that function as cultural gathering points rather than it just being places to buy stuff. And this literally is the blueprint for most luxury streetwear brands right now inside 2026. Talk about their collab game too. The first was with Puma in 2015, where they updated the classic state sneakers. Was it successful? Sure, but looking back, you could tell this was more of a testing ground. Teddy was experimenting, learning the ropes of footwear design, figuring out how to navigate this complex dynamic of working with a major sportswear brand. Fast forward to 4 years later inside 2019, the brand had really refined its vision and strengthened its identity and came through with New Balance. The first New Balance project centered around the 997 silhouette. It was an instant hit. Their second collaboration featured the 990 V2 and the 990 V5 models, and the response for this was so overwhelming that the launch event reportedly had to be shut down by the NYPD. October 2020, Aimé Leon Dore and New Balance revived a forgotten basketball silhouette from 1989 that had been discontinued for decades. Nobody was asking for this shoe. Nobody even remembered it existed. Teddy, with his deep appreciation for basketball, convinced New Balance to bring it back. This collab fundamentally changed how people dress. These chunky retro basketball shoes were absolutely everywhere. I'm pretty sure you guys even noticed. Finance bros was wearing them with tailored pants. Fashion forward women was styling these sneakers with vintage dresses. Celebrity influencers, just everybody wanted a pair. New Balance had collaborated with plenty of designers before this, giving them chances to reinterpret their classics. Nobody had achieved what Aimé Leon Dore did, turning a model into a cultural standard. The partnership was so successful, New Balance made Teddy creative director of their entire Made in USA line. They partnered with Drake's. And nah, I ain't talking about the rapper. I'm talking about this respected British tailoring brand to create elegant knitwear and accessories that showed they could operate just as comfortably in refined fashion spaces as they could inside streetwear. And the most expected one that did catch my eye was when they started the relationship with Porsche. But putting a logo on a car, nah, that wasn't the style of Aimé Leon Dore. They were doing multiple custom vintage car restorations, including this 1990 Porsche 964 Carrera 4. The partnership showed that AOD's reach extended far beyond clothing and into lifestyle territory that was usually only occupied by established luxury houses with decades of history behind them. So what made this brand collab stand out? Everything stayed true and aligned with Aimé Leon Dore's energy. They kept every collab intentional, and they only teamed up with a brand if they really felt the move was right. By 2022, this brand had evolved into one of the most powerful forces inside modern menswear, and their impact wasn't just reflected inside their sales. I mean, bigger established brands with serious manufacturing partnerships was rushing to copy this brand's aesthetic. And in January of 2022, Louis Vuitton took a minority stake inside Aimé Leon Dore. Think about that. That ain't normal. Louis Vuitton doesn't just casually invest inside fashion labels. When they put money into something, it means they see massive potential. So with this backing, Teddy made some big ballsy moves. They completely withdrew from all third-party retailers to focus exclusively on direct-to-consumer sales through their own website and physical stores. I think the strategy was smart, even though some say it might be risky because almost no independent brand could afford to implement this. It gave Aimé Leon Dore total control over how their products were presented and sold to. I mean, they ain't had to compromise, they ain't had no outside influence diluting the vision, meaning like boutiques wholesaling their products. And with this, this, expansion happened fast. In 6 months' time, they opened their first international store in London's Soho neighborhood. And they added a private sound room for friends and family of the brand, hosting monthly DJ sets that would be streamed online for everyone else to see. And I feel like this brand worked because it offered a clear point of view. Clarity will always travel further than hype. Teddy did not invent a new style. And this is what I want you guys to get, because if you try to reinvent the wheel, it's just gonna be a disaster when it comes to manufacturers. You're gonna have to customize measurements, customize the way how things are cut, and by the time you even do carry out your vision and finish it, fashion might be in a completely, totally different space. And so the man did not invent a new style. He just edited an existing one. He took the 90s New York references people already trusted and just rebuilt them with better materials, better cuts, and just fewer mistakes. Street pieces inside his store sit right next to tailored ones, so customers don't have to choose who they are. The brand gives them permission to move between worlds without changing outfits, and that's the real value. Soul of attention your audience already lives with, instead of trying to impress them with something completely new. The craziest part that caught my eyes as well is that they didn't pull this off with flashy runway shows. It's all about Teddy's instinct for what people actually want. The approach to marketing and community was low-key genius. Honestly, it might have had more impact on the fashion world than the clothes themselves. Instead of doing what most brands do, which is celebrity shoutouts, runways, or just trying to go viral on social media, specifically Instagram or TikTok, the whole strategy revolved around three things: storytelling, scarcity, and actual community. All of these things made this brand a cult. But think about it. What makes people line up for hours outside a store inside New York City regardless of the weather? What drives fashion lovers to set alarms for online drops, knowing most items will sell out inside minutes? The brand was never just about clothes. It was about a lifestyle, a point of view that really clicked with people who were craving for something real. Aimé Leon Dore played the long game. Walk around New York today and you'll feel Aimé Leon Dore's impact everywhere. The loafers, the Oxford shirts, vintage sportswear. It's not just about the people shopping at the store, but it's more about the whole vibe. That mix of heritage, quality, and storytelling created something that stands out in a world where so much fashion feels copy and pasted. But if you're still not convinced, check out this other video of how this ex-Supreme worker put his own brand on a map inside New York City and had everyone on notice.